In the grand classroom of the world, the maps are colored with stubborn inks. Every nation stands on its tiptoes, shouting into the ear of history, "We did it first. We saw it in a dream. The others are merely copying." The truth is a messy, shared apartment where everyone claims they bought the toaster. In a dusty American schoolroom, Thomas Alva Edison is the wizard of Menlo Park. He is portrayed with a light bulb for a head, grubby-handed, relentless, a man who slept 4 hours a day just to spite the concept of rest. The textbooks say he chased the darkness away with a carbonized bamboo filament and sheer grit. But cross the Atlantic to the British Isles, and you will hear a polite, firm cough. Joseph Swan sits in a parlor in Newcastle looking at his own glowing glass orb, patented while Edison was still tinkering with phonographs. It's a bit awkward, really, the British teacher says, sipping tea that tastes of quiet indignation. Swan had the vacuum. Edison had the marketing. Meanwhile, in a corner of Eastern Europe, Alexander Lodygin is weeping into a glass tube. He used tungsten before it was cool. But history is often written by the man with the loudest printing press. Then comes the telephone, the great ear of progress. In Boston, Alexander Graham Bell is a hero. He spilled some acid, called for Mr. Watson, and changed the way we avoid each other's visits. He was a man of elocution and visible vibrations, a Scotsman turned American icon. But go to an Italian social club in Staten Island, and they will show you a statue of Antonio Meucci, a man of candles and chronic illness, who built a teletrafono to talk to his wife from his laboratory to her bedroom. The Italians say he was too poor to pay the patent fee. Bell stole the thunder, they cry over espresso. Our Antonio spoke to the ghosts first. And let us not forget Elisha Gray, who arrived at the patent office 2 hours late. 2 hours. The difference between a global empire and a footnote that says, "Also tried, but failed at timing." Above the clouds, the battle for the sky rages. In North Carolina, the Wright brothers are frozen in a black and white photograph, bicycle mechanics who learn to fly. Orville and Wilbur, stoic, lean, and very Ohio. America claims the air because they stayed up for 12 seconds of bumpy, sandy glory. But fly south to Brazil and mention the Wrights. You will be met with a look of profound pity. Catapults, they will scoff. The Wrights used a slingshot. Alberto Santos Dumont is the king of the clouds here. A dandy in a Panama hat with high-collared shirts who flew his 14B in Paris without a rail, taking off on his own power like a gentleman. In Brazil, he is the father of aviation. The Wrights were just boys playing with kites and gravity. In the darkened cinema of national ego, the projector flickers with many faces. The French will tell you of the Lumière brothers, Auguste and Louis, who projected the train that made the audience scream and flee the room. They are the poets of the celluloid strip, the masters of the cinematograph. But the British have William Fries Green, who died with a few pennies in his pocket and a reel of film that proved he saw it first. And the Americans point back to Edison, because apparently he invented everything except for the concept of sharing credit. In the shadows, Louis Leprince vanishes. Literally, he got on a train in 1890 with a moving picture camera and disappeared from the face of the earth. The French say he was kidnapped. The British say he was lost. Either way, he didn't live to hire a lawyer. The radio dial is a spinning wheel of flags. Guglielmo Marconi is the name in the textbooks, the Italian noble who sent a signal across the sea. He is the face of the wireless. But in a physics lab in Russia, Alexander Popov was catching lightning in a bottle at the same time. In Moscow, they celebrate Radio Day for him, a man who saw the waves but forgot to sell them. And Nikola Tesla, the Serbian-American lightning god, pacing his room, muttering about frequencies, winning a Supreme Court case posthumously to prove that Marconi was just using his blueprints. I don't care that they stole my idea, Tesla might say. I care that they don't have any of their own. Even the refrigerator is a frozen battlefield. The Scots will claim William Cullen, who demonstrated artificial cooling in 1748 by boiling ether into a vacuum, a party trick that eventually led to the storage of milk. But the Americans point to Jacob Perkins, the father of the refrigerator, who lived in England. And the Germans whisper the name Carl von Linde, who made the whole thing practical with ammonia. Every nation claims the ice cube. Every nation wants the credit for the butter not melting. Why do we do this? Because a nation without its firsts feels like a child without a birthday. The curriculum is a fortress built of local heroes. In Russia, they say Mikhail Lomonosov found the law of conservation of mass. In France, they call it Lavoisier's law. Matter is neither created nor destroyed, it is simply renamed depending on your passport. In America, we are taught the cotton gin belongs to Eli Whitney. In the fine print, we see the enslaved people whose names were never written down, whose mechanical genius was a suggestion taken by the man with the pen and the patent. Who built the brain of the modern world? The British point to Alan Turing, the tragic genius who cracked the enigma and laid the math for everything we touch. Or Charles Babbage and Ada Lovelace, the Victorian dreamers of brass gears and logic. But the Americans will show you ENIAC, the room-sized beast of vacuum tubes. And the Germans will pull you aside to talk about Konrad Zuse, who built the Z3 in his parents' living room while Berlin was crumbling around him. His machine was destroyed by bombs. His legacy buried under the rubble of a lost war, yet he was coding in binary while the world was still figuring out how to plug things in. History is not a straight line. It is a series of people in different rooms, staring at the same problem until the light breaks. We ignore the letters exchanged, the journals read in secret, the way ideas leak through borders. We teach our children that our soil is special, that our water produces more aha moments per square gallon than the neighbors, like water through a cracked levee. So, here is to the inventors, the ones who got the patent, the ones who got the statue, and the ones who just got a cold, working in a basement in a country that didn't have a good marketing department. Next time you flip a switch or make a call, remember, 10 different men are currently turning in their graves, each claiming they thought of the movement first.